Welcome back, Tigers fans. We have a huge video in store today. We are talking all things Shane Richardson, talking about new signings for the West Tigers. We are also going to be talking about Tarua and his future with the club, along with Lachlan, Galvin, of course. We have so much to talk about today, but before we do, welcome back to the channel. My name is Jordy. I'm a diehard Tigers fan, and I cannot wait to get into today's video with you. So if you're new here, thanks for being here. I'd appreciate if you like and subscribe. It helps me in the algorithm out a ton. So let's get into it. Our first thing that we need to talk about is Tarua. This X post that I found made me giggle, man. Like when I talk about energy and I talk about having intensity and grit, this is what I mean, but we need to learn to channel this so we don't get silly sin bins. But my goodness, was that a hilarious moment within the game when he just went over there and grabbed that player and threw him off. I don't know. And the way he got off the field and was mouthing off at the player as well, it was just hilarious. And honestly, it made me miss the old footy where we saw a lot of fights and a lot of banter back and forth. Next up, we're going to talk about Shane Richardson. He was on the Buy Around podcast and he was talking to James Graham. I listened to the whole thing. It was phenomenal. And it was really good to get some answers to just about what is going on within the West Tigers in terms of signings and the future of some players. And as you see from this tweet here, he was saying that we've got some players signed outside of the squad. He hasn't released who, but I want to know, who do you guys think we have signed already? Are we looking at people like Taylor May with our guy here, with his brother Terrell May being in? Because when we look through this article here by MSN, you can tell that he is taking some time out of the game and away from the game to get himself right. So I don't know if he's one of the guys, but it could be something that he comes in later. And you can see that they've had the steps to talk about going forward. And are the West Tigers part of that? Because as we know, Api Korosai has definitely gotten behind him and talked good things about him. And obviously with his brother Terrell on the team, we are going to want him. We want that brother culture, right? We see that with the Faianu brothers and with the Lau Lily brothers. And why not see it with the Terrell brothers as well? And like it says here, it's so hard to come by these guys. He works out in the backfield, and you need that from your wingers these days. And he's that quick. Some of that speed you just can't teach, right? And I totally agree with that. Like, he could also be so versatile in the center. He could even step into a half if we had injury and needed that. But what do you guys think? Is Taylor May come in, or is this just one of those things where we are probably going to have to miss out for a little bit on this guy because of where he's at in his career? And sounds like we might also have some other people signed, and I'm super, super intrigued on who that is. I think within the club, we could see someone like Talon De Silva being extended an offer that he can't refuse, along with Latu Fainu and maybe his brothers as well. And then as well as Kit and Luke Laulili. Like, those guys are the future of the club. Those guys are, I think, what Benji and Shane Richo are building this club around, and I'm really, really excited in the next few weeks. I saw somewhere else, I couldn't find it, but I did see that we should find out some more big news in terms of signings in the next 2 to 3 weeks, so I'm really, really pumped to see what we got going on there. But again, yeah, we've talked about Shane Richardson and why we're on him. Man, I love the way that he supports the club, and in specific, the way he supports his players and his coach. If you guys watch this presser, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Due to copyright reasons, I don't know if I can share that, like the video, so I'm just going to go through here, and I wanted to highlight just these moments where we have demanded like player swap deals, and that was one of the major game talking points as well. And when people started bringing up things about Galvin, Richo chimed in and he sunk his teeth into that reporter, and he made it understood that like our club is here to play footy, and that is it. And I love that. And he even said, Richo, it's a legitimate question. And he responded, we get together, we're here to play footy, and we just have to focus on that. And that's what Uppy, our skipper, said, and I could not agree more with him. And I'm just loving the way that we as a team are coming together. Benji is leading this pack of guys together and just like actually making things happen. And it's more than footy now. This is actually about building a culture. This is about building a club. And while we're on that topic, just a quick glance over the team list again. I know we went over yesterday, but just some things I wanted to highlight with Lockie Galvin being back in number 6. I think what we need to do is just focus on the footy. Leave the media in the past. I know he and his little camp have definitely badmouthed our coach and our club, but at the same time, how much of that was him and how much of that was his manager, Isaac Moses? So I just want to just be cautious with that in terms of he is here to play footy. He's a young fella figuring it out. Benji Marshall knows that. Richo knows that. They were so gracious. They were talking about this in the podcast today. He was so gracious enough to him that they extended an offer to show how serious they were about having him on the team, right? And just how serious that they were in terms of building the future. They talked about having like car deals within all of that within his contract, and big money, $6 million for the youngest player in the club history to have that kind of money, and he turned it down, and they said, we don't want to see the offer. And that's what he mentioned. Richo mentioned in the podcast. He said they didn't even look at the offer. They just said, we do not want to see the offer. Now, does that indicate that maybe he's going somewhere else? 100%. He has his eyes set somewhere else, maybe him or his camp. But I really do think that in the meantime, he needs to put his head down and his bum up and play good footy in order to, one, retain his value and show other clubs that he is still worth the money, $6 million. But two, to hone in his skills to be better, to help this team come to a win and to a success together, because he started here, and why not finish out the season with us on a good note, right? Because you never know when you might come back around, full circle moment, and I just want to make sure that he is being smart in his decisions and not ripping out the club or just burning bridges. I know they are so close, but I have got to be so careful and cautious about if that's him speaking or if that's his manager speaking. And we all know Isaac Moses is a bit of a how you going bloke, and we can't fully trust everything that he says. But back to the drawing board for this week. I'm really, really excited just to see Luai and Galvin play together. They definitely do have a bit of a bond. You can tell there's a chemistry there. But will all of this media crap change that? I am really, really intrigued. Sanua Taruva, really, really excited again to watch him play. He just needs to channel that aggression and energy into running the ball, knocking down defenders, not throwing them off and scrapping, and just those silly things. We got to learn to control what we can control. I've been saying that from the start on this channel. Someone that I am also really I want to say excited, but anxious to see is Brent Naden again. Not a great performance from old mate last week, let's be honest. And I just want to see him set up some great tries and also run some great gaps. So really, really key indicator on whether or not he's part of this club in the long term will be from this game and the coming games if he's still on. Another thing, Terrell May, super pumped to see him play as always. Absolute bulldozer. In the second half of the last game against the Eels, I believe that we lacked that middle pressure, both on attack but also defense. So let's start with attack. We just weren't running hard, and we just weren't getting those post-contact meters, those offloads. Things just weren't clicking. There's a few reasons I think that might be it for our boys. The biggest one is just we always have this tendency to come off onto the field from halftime and just slack off and just struggle to get back into rhythm, set the tone, things like that. Secondly, we got to look at our big boys, people like Terrell May, people like Royce Hunt. We got to look at them in terms of the long run, right? The picture. And when we have Richo saying he's signed 3 new players already, who are they? Are we accounting for the depth that we need in our middle, in our big boys, right? Because if not, then I think we should go back to the drawing board, Richo, and look at that. Because these guys can't run the show and steer the ship from that perspective the whole season, 80 minutes a game. That is just not possible. We're talking injuries, we're talking fatigue, we're just talking mentally as well. That's a lot on a player, and for these guys running at such tough lines and running so hard time after time, we just got to be mindful and think about the future of our middle pack. And then defensively, we just leaked too many meters and points out of our middle against the Eels, and I need to see that change this game. I think if we can tighten up defensively in the middle, that faster line speed, quicker play the balls, from them getting up, and making sure we're on our marks. I think we can shut down so many more points, and we can shut down so many more unnecessary meters that they do not need to take. All right. So if you guys with me, drop a comment and let me know that you're with me on that, or what else you think that we should be working on going forward into this game against the Cronulla Sharks. But yeah, again, if you haven't listened to the podcast or read any of the interviews about Richo and his perspective with Galvin and Isaac Moses and Benji, you definitely need to get around this. It's not what you think. Galvin has a lot of respect for Richo, has a lot of respect for Benji, and vice versa. And I think that the reading between the lines of all of this is an Isaac Moses thing. And now the million-dollar question is, why did we continue to work with Isaac Moses? Now, I think that this is probably the biggest thing that Richo is probably going to take away and, change. But at the end of the day, this is an NRL thing as well. I think the NRL needs to be better at managing their managers, right? Because we can't keep having this. But Richo said in that podcast, in this interview, that, this stuff happens all the time. It kind of got heated, too, between him and the host, saying, this stuff happens. This is normal, but we are here to play footy. And I'm not here to disrespect Galvin. He's a great human. His parents are great, but they have their mind made up and they want something different. He never told us where he was going, but in my opinion, I really do see him going somewhere like Parramatta Eels. I know the Bulldogs and Manly have definitely backed off, but with Cherry Evans retiring, whatever he's doing, we could definitely see Galvin ending up at Manly. Definitely a possibility. But yeah, let me know what your thoughts are in the comments. Overall, how are you taking all of this Galvin stuff, all of this Richo stuff? As more things start to come out, the more answers we get, and good, bad, or ugly, I'm here to cover that all. So yeah, I appreciate you guys being here. We have a huge week. Tomorrow we're going to be going over our game plan going up against the Cronulla Sharks, how we got to be better on attack, in the middle, on the edges, and what our key players are going to look like for that, as well as defense, what we got to be better at and what we got to be prepared for going up against the Cronulla Sharks. But we have some massive stuff evolving and coming out over the next few weeks within the club. I appreciate Richardson definitely coming out and saying that and just giving us this transparency. That is something I extremely value with this club and value with our coach and as well as our CEO. So yeah, great year to be a Tigers fan. We are so freaking ready. We are pumped. We are hyping up our boys in the comments. And again, thank you for being here. You guys are legends. We really do have so much to dream big about. And as always, take it easy. Geordie out.